name is Michelle Carr. I have been working on my family history for more than 15 years. You see, my mother died when I was only 3 years old, and this has been my way to try to learn about my family history. I've uncovered some fascinating stories, but what I'd like to tell you is an experience that I had. 3 or 4 years ago, I organized a trip with my sister, who's 15 years older than me, and 3 other cousins on my mother's side. We went to North Carolina and Georgia, where my mother's family was from. My mother grew up in a small town called Bryson City, North Carolina. We spent the night there in an old historic lodge, and early in the morning, one of my cousins got up early. She wandered down the streets in town. The only place that was open was a little antique shop, and she walked in, and the owner was in there, and he engaged her in conversation, asking her what brought her to town. So she told him that she was with her family members, and we were trying to discover information about her family. In particular, we were looking for our grandmother's grave. She died in 1947, and my sister had been there before looking. She said it was unmarked. So a voice in the back of the room said, "Who was your grandmother?" So she looks back, and a man wanders up, and she says, "Myrtle White." And he said, "Ma White? Your grandmother was Ma White?" She said, "Yes." And he said, "I am probably the only person on the face of the earth who can show you where your grandmother's grave is, because your grandmother and my grandmother were best friends. And she used to take me to that cemetery when I was a child, and she'd tell me, that's where Ma White was buried, and nobody in her family has bothered to put a headstone on her grave." Needless to say, today she has a headstone.